and welcome to 10-Pin City, Sydney, with the excitement of the inaugural Australian Bowling Cup. You're watching Kegel, Rollin Thunder, with the nation's best bowlers teaming up to bowl for Australian glory. Featuring the doubles Baker format, 8 teams of 2 players have been divided into 2 pools, Pool A and Pool B. 3 matches per team in each pool, 2 points per win and 1 point per draw. The pair with the most points standing in each pool will progress to the final and will feature in a bowling battle for the Australian Bowling Cup. Today we welcome back Pool B with 2 tremendous showdowns. This is the second match each for Pool B as they keep their eyes on the prize. Vital points are up for grabs. This is the Pool B ladder as it stands going into today's action. George Frelingos and Jared Langford on 2 points, as is Beck Whiting and Beck Martin. They're also on 2. Ashley Warren and Chris Castle, along with Glenn Loader and Lachlan Merchant, both needing their first wins. Now for Pool B, it is match 7 overall of Kegel, Rollin Thunder. Beck Whiting and Beck Martin up against Ashley Warren and Chris Castle. Well, our first match for today on Kegel, Rollin Thunder. Had a great couple of weeks of action, and it is Beck Whiting and Beck Martin up against Ashley Warren and Chris Castle. Beck Whiting to start things off. She leaves one there. Peter Basoldas, Paul Delaney, Daniel Webb here with you.
Yeah, a little tentative first shot there, a little bit left off of a hand for Beck. Leaves a 6-pin though. Should be an easy cover for Beck Whiting.
No problem there for Beck Whiting. Gets the spare first up. The girls had an impressive victory a couple of weeks ago.
After the round 1 matches, they came out with the highest score, 237, to win week 1's first match. Second game in, first frame, Ash Warren on lane number 4. Looking to get off to a good start.
Here he is, leaving a nasty split.
Just lost his balance there at the foul line. Threw it a little bit wide. Again, doesn't come up. It's what these bowlers are struggling with on this difficult pattern. We heard it from Jason a minute ago. It's not an easy pattern.
As we can see there, Ashley, from last time out, he's definitely come a little further right on the lane and tried to play a little bit of a straighter angle.
Oh, and he's missed there. He went for everything.
Very close, Peter, very close. Open frame, not the start that he wanted. Let's see if his partner, Chris, can hold him up.
Does he go with a tactic there of, well, may as well leave 2, but if I get 2, it's a bonus.
Frame 1, no count to lose. Definitely go for the spare.
Here's Chris Castle, and that was important.
That's it.
After the open frame.
That's it. That's like we said before. You know, when you've got these 2 bowlers bowling together, you've got to make sure that when one has an open frame, that the other one's there to pick up the strike, get it done.
Beck Martin looked sensational last time out. Struck out an attempt to win that game. First frame for Beck, working on a spare.
We saw her a couple of weeks ago. Very consistent. And gets a strike.
Wow.
That's a crowd pleaser.
Have a look at the Kegel replay here.
Kegel replay, a little left through the head pin, a little high, leaves a 6-pin. Pin comes flying across and takes it out. Yeah, they both enjoyed that. Let's see if Beck can take advantage of that lucky break and get a double working.
She's a strike machine, but not on this occasion. Looked a little bit tentative there, Paul, from Beck Whiting. Most unlike her.
Unlike Beck, been a dominant female player in Australia over the last couple of years. Just a little left off of her hand and went through the head pin and paid the penalty there with a big 5 split. Looking for some count here. She will look to take 3 pins.
Takes 3 out, but an open frame. And just invites the team of Ash and Chris back into it.
46 through frame 3 with an open for the girls. Ash, 8 pins behind with a strike here, can take the lead.
Here is Ash Warren. Can he get a strike here? He does!
Much solid, but much better finish there on the shot. Gets through it. Still comes up high, but lucky to carry that last pin.
And that's what you see, Peter, with him trying to play a little bit straighter up the lane with a ball that doesn't hook as much. He's looking for the ball to hold its line a lot straighter on the pocket, and that's what he got there. Fortunate to kick out the 4-pin. Double working for Chris Castle, frame number 4.
Here is Chris Castle.
He's got a hook.
Didn't hook enough or too late with the hook.
A little right off of his hand and never looked like it was getting back to the pocket. Leaves a 2-5. Cover the spare with his plastic ball here, going straight across the lane.
Looking for the spare and gets it. Tell us, Paul, the difference then in the balls. You explained it a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, and just for those who have been missing or might be just joining us for the first time, just about the ball selection from each of the competitors.
Yeah, we've got for the hook balls, we've got 3 different covers. That's the outside of the bowling ball. We've got pearl, we've got hybrid, and we've got solid. Solid will hook the earliest and hook the most. The pearl will go the longest and turn the corner hardest down lane. Beck frame 4. Looks like a good shot.
And it's a strike there for Beck Martin. An important one there for the girls. This match certainly hotting up. Well, Beck Martin with a strike, and now can Beck Whiting capitalise? Look tentative with her last bowl, and that's much better. Right on the money there from Beck Whiting.
Much better shot there. Don't give Beck too many chances. Flush in the pocket, gets the double. Brings this match all even through 5.
A very tight, important match. Beck and Beck with the win last time out, but Ash and Chris looking for their first win to keep their tournament alive. Here is Ash Warren. Can he get a strike here? He does. Gets the strike. Ash Warren, impressive stuff from him. Well, we're very fortunate to have the best bowler in the world as part of Kegel Rollin Thunder. Hasn't had the greatest campaign. He joined us on commentary last week, and he joins us for a chat again this afternoon. We speak of Jason Belmonte. Jason, good afternoon to you.
G'day, boys. How are you?
We're doing very well. Is the tournament really starting to hot up?
Yeah, it really is. We've got a bit of a barn burner happening right now. The girls are, sticking it to the fellas a little bit this tournament. And I know that, when we step up against the girls, we always have that little grudge match against the sexes,
Good stuff. It's great. From what we've seen, great crowds. I know that people have enjoyed what they've seen so far, watching it on TV over the last couple of weeks. And as we spoke about last week, great for the sport, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The people have turned up to 10-pin City here in Lidcombe, really supported bowling. And, as one of the premier bowlers that travels around the world, there's no place like home. So seeing bowling back on television here in Oz is extremely exciting, and it's wonderful to see that the fans have come out to support it here at 10-pin City in Lidcombe.
It's wonderful, Jason. Great to have you back in Australia. Looking at the standard of bowling over here, what do you think moving forward and going away to the Men's World Championships? How do you think the Australian men's team is going to fare in Las Vegas, or Reno, sorry?
Yeah, well, the first thing that you're going to notice is that it's quite a young group of bowlers that are touring around Australia at the moment. So I think in any sport you want to see the youth kind of building and getting stronger, and certainly seeing some really impressive young bowlers here. And obviously see that we've got a few seasoned guys that are still competing, teaching the younger guys, what they know. I think, the team that's going away to, it actually is Las Vegas for the World Championships later in the year. It's a young team, but I think we're not afraid of the powerhouse nations through Europe, the US, Korea. We're going to give it everything we've got, and hopefully we can come home with a few gold medals for Australia.
We wish you all the best, Jason, and bring home some medals, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot, boys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Jason. Jason Belmonte here. Has things certainly been hotting up behind him. High quality match.
We see the girls here with 4 in a row, really putting the pressure now on the boys. They need to answer here with a strike.
It is Ash Warren. Needs a strike. Can he deliver? Boys need a win.
Oh,
And he gets one. Got lucky.
Rolled the 2-pin there. A little bit late. Ashley and Chris desperately needed that strike. They're 20 pins behind, but now they've got an opportunity to cut that deficit to 10 pins with another strike. The girls are looking sensational, working on 4 strikes in a row through frame 7. Let's see what Chris can do here. Frame number 8. Got to have this strike here if they're going to have a chance in this game.
Chris Castle. Can he deliver? He can. That was impressive stuff from Castle. He's been a bit up and down through the tournament, Daniel, hasn't he? But that's a clutch one.
That's it. That's a shot. Gets through to the break point, rolls up nice and strong. That's the reaction he's been looking for on these lanes.
Back over to Beck Martin now. Still certainly is advantage the girls. They can have a top score of 256. Beck Martin in. Delivers and wood. Split here.
First chink in the armour. She's been perfect so far. Frames 2, 4, 6 she struck. She just got it a little bit right off her hand on that shot. Came around the back of the head and leaves a 2-10 split. Leaves the door wide open.
Can she be looking at spare here?
I think in this particular instance she's going to have to try and make this spare. So she's going to send the ball to the left of the 2-pin, try and get that pin going in the direction of the 10-pin furthest right, obviously.
Well, it's a tough one. Can she get it? Misses. Leaves the frame open. So the boys of Ashley Warren and Chris Castle still in it as we go through 8. Here at 10-pin City in Lincoln in Sydney. It's Beck Whiting looking for a strike and gets it.
Trips the 4 there, frame 9. That was important foundation. Sets himself up for a big finish here. They are currently 5 pins behind. Ash and Chris. Ash Warren has an opportunity in frame 9 to get the boys a free bag of turkey and jump out to a 15-pin lead. And
as we've been saying, the boys need the win. They had the loss in their first match a couple of weeks ago.
Important shot here for Ash.
They need the victory here. Ashley Warren, can he deliver? Oh. Is it going to go? It doesn't.
Oh. Could not throw the ball any better. Look perfect in the pocket. That's where he's looking for that little bit of deflection through pins 1, 3, 5 to go to 9. Just didn't get the deflection off the 5 into the 9. Got half of it. He will not believe that that pin has still stood.
No one here can believe. And of course, involved in bowling as well too, folks. Just for the fun of it all, he misses his spare.
That was not what he wanted to do.
You could see him take his first 2 steps there, and he was still shaking his head in disbelief of having left it in the first place. That is a huge error.
So bowl.com.au is the website to get involved, folks. Find your centre, head to that website, bowl.com.au. Head out this afternoon. All around the country. Great to have people involved in 10-pin bowling. And a split being left here by Chris Castle.
As soon as he let that one go off his hand, he knew it was wide. He knew that on this particular pattern, he just wasn't going to get the ball to come back to the pocket. And sure enough, skids a bit too far, doesn't roll up enough. Leaves himself to split.
Now Chris is going to have to spare this to force Beck to stand up and spare in the 10th frame to win this game. Must have this spare to force Beck to stand up.
And has he got it? He does.
What a spare!
That is fantastic. Well, they've had a bit of bad luck in this match as Chris and Ash, but that was fantastic.
Sent the 2-pin over to the 10, and that is going to force Beck to stand up and spare in the 10th frame to win their second game in a row.
A 2-10 split turning into a spare. You don't see that happen every day of the week.
No.
Especially in the 10th frame in a match you want to win or need to win.
Not a high percentage made. Now, decent count here for Chris.
There you go.
Much better shot.
9. So a final score of 192 for Ash Warren and Chris Castle.
Exciting game again, Peter. We are looking here. If Beck Martin spares or strikes, they will win this game. If she leaves an open frame, the guys will win this game. All down on this shot right here, right now.
She's delivered so far during the tournament. Big moment. Beck Martin for the win. And the girls to be 2 from 2. Leaves the 9-pin.
It comes up high and goes into Brooklyn. I think she was feeling that pressure on that shot. She knew what she needed to do. She wanted to do it. Just dragged it a little bit to the left. Nice easy spare here for her though. Should be a piece of cake.
Might have the commentators curse there. Still a bit of pressure.
Spare to win the game, miss to lose.
This for the win. Can she get the spare? Misses!
That is heartbreaking.
Incredible.
And a loss for the Becks, but a much-needed victory for Ash Warren and Chris Castle. A thriller here in Kegel. Rollin Thunder. Beck Martin shaking her head. Misses it. It's amazing, Paul, what pressure can do.
Yeah, 188 to 192. Chris stood up in the 10th frame, left a 2-10 split, looked like it was all over. Miraculously made the spare, great spare from Chris, 210, forced Beck to stand up and spare in the 10th frame, and missed spare means that they lose that game, 192 to 188 to the guys.
The tournament's still alive for Ash Warren and Chris Castle after that thrilling victory. Well, Chris Castle delivering on this occasion as he did right throughout this match here, Paul. Terrific match going right down to the wire.
Ladies look good again, and they looked like they were going to take their second win in a row. Chris left the split in the 10th frame, made a great spare in the 210, forced the girls to get the spare, and unfortunately Beck missed the single pin to get the win for the boys.
This was an amazing spare. That ended up being the sealer there for Chris Castle and Ash Warren.
Yeah, it looked like it was all over, but a great split spare, never give up, and got the victory.
Well, Ash, to you first of all, another thriller, and you got the win this time.
Yeah, so a little bit of an unforced error on my behalf, but we got lucky, and luck, I don't know what to say.
The bloke next to you delivered too, didn't he?
He definitely did. It's a very hard spare, and he struck to finish it off.
Chris, what were you feeling when you got that spare that really set the tone, got you the win?
When I spared, I was like, all right, still get a chance to get the win. So that's, put us in the best spot possible to have at least get a win. So yeah, that's we got the W, so that's all that matters.
And the tournament's still alive?
That's it. We're still alive.
Definitely.
Good luck next time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guys, a great way for the kids to get into bowling is through Bowl Patrol. Daniel, you've had a lot to do with this program. It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great program. It really does teach the kids the good fundamentals of bowling. Gets them active, gives them a sense of achievement, really gets them involved in the sport and teaching them the coordination skills that they need to play our sport.
Good coaches, the shorten lanes too important as well.
Exactly right. It means that they can start a little bit closer to the pins, get to the pins without using the bumpers, and really learn how to bowl properly. It's great.
How important is it then too to have those coaches there with the kids at an early age? There's so much that goes into the sport.
Well, that's it. Having a coach that's enthusiastic and high-fiving, and it's great.
It is. It's absolutely fantastic. Bowl Patrol, folks. Great way to get the kids involved in the sport. Look at them there having fun. For all the details, head to the website, bowlpatrol.com.au. Kegel Rollin Thunder continues after the break. It's George Ferlingos and Jared Langford suited out with Glenn Loader and Lachlan Merchant. Welcome back to Kegel Rollin Thunder. You're watching Australia's best 10-pin bowlers in action here at 10-pin City in Sydney. Here we go with match 8 of the tournament. Rounding out the second game for Pool B, George Flingos and Jared Langford head-to-head against Glenn Loader and Lachlan Merchant. It's the locals here who have won the toss. They've chosen lane 4. Glenn Loader and Lachlan Merchant to start after George and Jared said you can open things up. So it will be Lachlan Merchant to get things started here. Vital game for Glenn and Lachlan. Set free shot. Get off to a good start. And there's a nasty little split here, Paul, for Lachlan to negotiate.
He didn't like that off of his hand. It was a little bit left. Almost held. Went high in the pocket and left a 4-10. Turns away from it there. Could call that a bad break, Jason, or got what he deserved?
No, I think he got what he deserved. Yeah, I mean, the good break would have been if one of them had fallen, but I don't know if this was a bad break.
It leaves an open frame. And Jason Belmonte joining us in commentary yet again with Paul Delaney. And it will be Jared Langford here to open things up. On lane 5. Narrow victory for George and Jared in their first outing. Gives that one a real rip and almost a perfect start.
One of the things that it's very evident when Jared bowls is a high rev rate, high speed player. So if that ball doesn't quite pick up in the right spot, with that high speed, he can leave, the over-the-top light 6 pins like that shot right there. However, when he gets dialed in, those high revs and high speed delivery of his really can rack up some strikes.
As we saw late on in the previous match where he came up with some real clutch strikes and they came in quick succession. And that's an impressive spare.
Good spare for Jared. Coming from a man with experience with high speed and high revs there, Jason, I think you know a little bit about that also.
Yeah, it's nice to have most of the time. Sometimes you kind of wish you threw the ball a little straighter like this guy on screen right now, George Flingos. One of Australia's most dominant players over his career. Nice, easy, soft, perfect.
Gets the strike. There'll be a few glances, I think, towards the commentary box. There's no love loss or a little bit of a rivalry between you, Jason, and I think you too, Paul, here with George.
George is a great guy. Can have a lot of fun, and I've seen Jason and George have a lot of tight contests over the years in Australia. I'm sure Jason respects George as a very high-level competitor whenever he gets on the lanes against him.
Glenn Loader it is. Looking for a strike and misses.
Yeah, a little light, a little right of target. Ball not quite reading the back end of the lane enough to get back to the pocket. However, if you're going to throw a shot like that, it's nice to see just one pin down the other end of the lane. It should be an easy conversion for him. And Ben, that's only a couple of frames in. Still plenty of time for these two to start building a little rhythm, a little momentum, and put some strikes together themselves.
Well, he gets the spare. This is what we've been saying over the last few weeks. You can take part 2 in bowling, folks. Bowl.com.au is the website, whether it be socially or joining a league. I know we've spoken about it, Paul, a numerous number of times, but what a great way to get some mates together, join a league, or in fact even meet new people in joining a bowling league.
Couldn't think of anything better to do. Young, old, male or female, get yourself down there, get involved in a league. You'll find yourself having a lot of fun.
And guess what? It's a sport that's not weather dependent either, so you'll never have late cancellations or anything like that.
That's correct. Lachlan frame free, working on a spare. It's a lot cleaner off of his hand, that shot. Light pocket hit, gets the strike. Good shot from Lachlan Merchant.
Sorry, Peter, I was just going to say that's exactly what that team needed to do. Just kind of calm the nerves a little bit, get off to a nice start in the third frame. build off of that now, and also let Jared and George know that, hey, something potentially could come of this, so you guys better step up and throw some good shots yourself.
Well, they were unfortunate game one, 224 high score, losing that game to the ladies with a 237. Jared frame free, working on a strike.
Here he is, and missing on that occasion. Small margins, isn't it, Jason?
It's so difficult to, I guess, explain as clearly as possible to those at home watching. Because we bowl on an invisible oil pattern, our playing field is invisible. It's what I believe makes our sport one of the hardest sports in the world. So everything is based off feel, it's based off execution, and then all of our adjustments are made post-shot. We could execute perfectly, the lane oil can manipulate and change without us seeing it, and we can get a split off a perfect delivery, and we have to make those adjustments afterwards. It's also one of the reasons why it can really mess with your head as a competitor. Has the oil changed on me this frame? Do I execute the same thing? Should I make a change before I throw this shot? So all of those thoughts go into your head, which makes execution even harder.
There is Hollywood George Frelingos. Leaves the 7 there on that occasion.
Great shot from George, as you can see, playing a much more direct line to the pocket than Jared. A little slower ball speed, a little bit of a slower rev rate, able to keep it on line. Unfortunate to leave the solid 7 pin there.
The second to last pin on the left there just wraps around the 7 pin. That's the 4 pin, just wrapping around the 7 pin. We talked about it on my last commentary broadcast. We're talking centimeters here. It's just a slight change, and that would have all fallen. However, that's a very uncharacteristic error from George. He's typically a very good spare shooter, so that's not going to make him very happy at all.
And he misses on that occasion, and he is filthy on himself.
And we've seen in this short format, when you leave that open frame, gives the other team a bit of a boost. So Glenn steps up here, can really hammer home that miss for George with a strike here and a double for his team.
Here is Glenn Loader. And he does get a strike. Revs up the crowd, the local boys. They've taken advantage.
Glenn liked that one.
Lachlan Merchant now looking to capitalise on that previous strike from his teammate.
Yep, great shot from Glenn. Got the crowd going. Double off, looking for 3 in a row. Lachlan Merchant, frame 5.
It's what the best players in the world will do when your opponent gives you an open frame, is you get straight back, step all over them. And that's exactly what Glenn did with his double. And now if Lachlan can back that up, really add a lot of pressure to the other 2 boys.
And he has backed it up. Fist pump, the crowd liked it. High fives all round.
That's what Jason's talking about. Lachlan, I got a lot of time for this young man. He throws it good. Got it clean off of his hand, got it right down lane. He does have a relatively high rev rate also, Lachlan, able to bring that ball back in the pocket and get the strike.
And Jared Langford, big moment for him.
Going to reset?
Yeah, wasn't happy with something. Best thing to do, put your ball down, reset yourself, do it all over again. I've been the culprit many a time of trying to push through those distractions. Sometimes it works, most times it doesn't. So it's showing a little experience there, his ability to just reset himself, regroup, and try it all over again.
So we go again. Jared Langford. Massive amount of revs on that one and gets a much needed strike.
Yeah, look, threw that grade off his hand. Jason said, showed a lot of composure for a young man there on TV. Took his time, reloaded, got up and made the shot.
What a shot it was. That's pretty much the way that you want to throw every delivery in your life. So splitting the pocket in half, blowing all 10 pins into the back of the deck.
George looking to make amends for his 7-pin miss in frame number 4. See if he can get his team a double in frame 6.
He was very quick to get up and get going with this one, and misses on getting the strike.
A little right off of his hand, high in the pocket, leaves the 6-pin.
goes without saying. He needs to convert here. As Glenn and Lachlan have certainly found their range.
But the way this tournament has unfolded each match, anything is possible. We've seen teams fallen further back than what George and Jared have, come back to either win or tie the match. So I certainly don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, but Glenn right now, throw in a strike right here, would do his team a huge favour and really burying George and Jared.
It'll be 4 in a row for the team. Glenn Loader looking for the strike, misses.
That was right off of his hand. As soon as he let it go, he knew that missed his target to the right. Got way right down lane, and quite fortunate just to leave himself 1-2-4-8 and something that he can convert, Jason.
There was a moment there, I promise you, Glenn was thinking this is going to go in the gutter. His heart would have been in his mouth. That was very, very close. We're talking only a couple of inches further right, and that's 0 for the frame. So in the end, a 6 count, not the worst. Certainly not a difficult spot conversion he's left himself either. However,
And he can't convert.
However, he made it look hard on that particular shot out there. Not a good frame for Glenn. So he's going to have to regroup. His team's still in the lead. They had a big enough lead to start with, so even after that disastrous frame, Lachlan and Glenn are still leading the match. However, you've given up some critical pins.
Yeah, Glenn and Lachlan looking at a possible top score of 231. George and Jared, 228.
We've had high drama in every match so far, getting down to the 10th frame, and every time somebody's had an opportunity to really hammer home and jump out into a big lead, they've left the door open for the opposition. Lachlan looking to bounce back.
And gets it. Wow. Got a little bit fortunate, but you ride your own luck. Outstanding strike.
Yeah, I'm not sure what hit that. I mean, the 6-pin falls into the gutter. It looks like the frame is over, and then the 6-pin just has another little tickle on the 10-pin, just enough to knock it over.
You saw there on the Kegel replay, it was almost as if to say, oh no, I'll jump up and take you with me.
Giddy up.
Jared Langford, bang! Likes that one.
Can't throw it any better than that again, Jason.
No, that's exactly what you want to do after your opponent strikes. You want to throw one right back at him. This shot here is going to be critical for George and Jared, mainly because George is going to finish the match in the 10th frame. Stepping up now and throwing a strike will give him confidence, knowing if he needs the strike in the 10th, he will be able to execute and do that. So this frame, critical on a range of different levels.
Come on.
Can he get the strike? He does, and he likes it as well.
Yeah, after that late tap on a 10-pin by Lachlan, it was important for Jared and George to come back, and they've thrown 2 of their best shots that you can possibly throw to get back into the lead.
Still plenty to occur in this match. It's ebbed and flowed.
Well, look, as a competitor, after Glenn's last frame, it's really difficult to come back and throw a good shot. So let's hope he gets it off his hand where he wants it and executes better.
And he can't, leaves the split.
And that's really the 1-2 punch of bad shots. You miss way right one particular shot, so you overcompensate the next time you get up and you miss it on the inside there.
It was almost as if you knew what was coming there, Jason, that as good a bowler as we all know Glenn is, having thrown the ball and missed right, then compensation was that he missed a little left on that one.
Leaves an open frame. We've got a thrilling conclusion coming up in this match. Kegel, Rollin Thunder. Continuing here. In a thrilling match at 10-pin City. It is Lachlan Merchant.
Must strike situation, frame 9. Can still get 197 if they strike out and force Jared to step up in the 9th frame.
There it is. Takes his head because he knows he got a little bit lucky. He should take it.
Now it comes down to who's got the maple moxie, right? Who's going to step up, throw the best frames coming into the 9th and 10th. Jared, the last couple of shots he's thrown have been absolute world class. High rotation, high speed, excellent execution, strike. Right now, needs another one of those shots.
Here's Jared Langford. He's delivered, he has. That looked great, straight out of the hand from Jared Langford.
But what that does is it now allows George a lot more freedoms on the approach. He can now just allow himself to go through the motions, take an easy spare, and win the match. That shot was critical for their team to take a lot of pressure off their anchor bowler, George Falingos. Now, a spare, he's won the team for his match. Sorry, he's won the match for his team.
We knew what you meant.
It's been a funny week for me.
He
Wow.
left the door open there.
The equivalent to what we just saw right then is hitting a golf ball down the middle of a fairway and someone just put in a bunker right in the middle. No reason for this ball to not knock over at least 9 and give himself an easy spare. However, now the 5-10, not a very easy spare, and if he misses this, it leaves the door open for Glenn to step up, strike out to win for his team.
He's got the 5 and the 10 to negotiate. And he does!
Wow. What a spare, George Falingos.
Wow! Hollywood, George Falingos with the spare.
Come off the man, come off the arrow with those gold shoes. Got the spare to win the game.
You've been waiting all match to bring up those gold shoes. Now, Jason, you've got gold shoes, as does George, but I think yours look a little bit better than his.
Well, I tell you what looked pretty good, that spare. I can guarantee you, standing before that split to win the match, not an easy thing to do. George steps up, wins it for his team. Clutch spare. And, you know, if you look at his resume, 17 or 18 major championships he's won here in Australia. You've got to be able to throw those clutch shots when you need to.
Now, Paul, you wanted to make mention of these shoes from George Falingos.
Well, I just wanted to ask Jason. I know that George had to get those painted himself. Jason, your shoes, did you have to paint those yourself, or were they made for you?
I know, I was very lucky that my sponsor, Dexter, custom made mine. However, I think those are quite nice on George. You know, he's, you know, he went out there and changed it up a little bit. I admire that.
You Paul have been waiting all afternoon to sledge. George.
What a shot from George under that pressure. Still go back to that split spare, and that is why George has won so many times in Australia over the last 20 years.
So that'll give Jared and George now 2 wins, take them to the top of their group with 4 points. Very interesting to see now coming into the last round what can potentially happen for them. A win will guarantee them into the finals.
It will.
That's the end of Lachlan and Glenn Loader's attempt at winning this year, but they'll be back. They'll come back stronger for this, and we'll see a lot more from Lachlan and Glenn in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, we certainly will. That wasn't their best day out, but beaten by a team that delivered when it matters most. A comprehensive win there for George Falingos and Jared Langford. They're 2 from 2. Well, this match was close early, but in the end, some clutch bowling, in particular from that man, George Falingos, and also Jared Langford.
Glenn jumped out to a lead, got an early turkey, three shots in a row. Glenn left the frame open, and as we've seen many times, the other team doesn't need an invitation and comes running back through to come back and win the game.
This was a massive moment.
Well, 5-10 split, you wouldn't see that spare very often, especially under those circumstances. George Falingos, job done.
They got the win. Jared, you first of all, what a match. You're behind early, but just really came home, both of you. Well done.
I think both George and I are confident in coming from behind. It's not the ideal place to be, but we believe in our abilities, so it was always good to get a win like that.
I'm about to ask George about it, but I ask you first. What were you thinking sitting back, seeing the 5 and the 10 still standing?
Probably nothing I can say on air. But George has always been a clutch sparer, so I was quite hopeful that he would clean it up.
It was a great spare, George.
Well, you leave it enough, you get pretty good at sparing it. So, yeah, I'd like to say I pride myself on my sparing ability, but I did flag a very easy 9 earlier on in the game. But, you know, we had a different strategy going into that game. We used different balls, different surfaces, and our pocket percentage was through the roof. So that game, whilst we bowled 208, it could have been anything. So I'm expecting another big game from us against the girls, and hopefully that's going to be enough to get us into the final.
Well, you're 2 from 2. Good luck next time we see you.
Thank you very much.
So here is Pool B, how it looks after each team now has had 2 matches. George Valengos and Jared Langford undefeated on 4 points. There's 2 teams that are on 2, Ashley Warren and Chris Castle, along with Beck Whiting and Beck Martin. The tournament is over for Glenn Loader and Lachlan Merchant, yet to register a win. Join us next week when we return with another 2 exciting games. Jason Belmonte and Sam Cooley, their tournament's over, but they can have a large say in who makes the final. They're up against David Porto and Matt Riley. Blaine Fletcher and Sean Bowling will take on Rebecca Vukalos and Emma Walsh, who from Pool A will be the contenders for the Australian Bowling Cup. This is Kegel Rolling Thunder. Bye for now.
Must have this spare. Force Beck to stand up.
And has he got it? He does.
What a spare!
That is fantastic. Here is Glenn Loader. And he does get a strike.
Beck frame 4. Looks like a good shot.
And it's a strike there for Beck Martin. He's got the 5 and the 10 to negotiate. And he does.
Wow. What a spare, George Valengos.
Wow.
Clutch spare.